Why, hello there and welcome back to the channel. We are going to continue to look at the Skilling Open, and we are in round 3 now. And we are going to be looking at the game between Nepomniachtchi and David Anton Guijarro. Now, Nepomniachtchi has started really well. He won his first 2 games. And David Anton, he has surprised a lot of people. He won against Peter Svidler in round 2. And in round 1 he drew with black against Wesley So. So quite the impressive start. And let's have a look at the game. So Nepomniachtchi with white, and he opens with b3. The Nimzowitsch-Larsen opening, or attack, whichever you want to look at it. It's not much of an attack now, is it, by playing b3, but that's a different story. But this b3 move has been, getting kind of more popular lately, especially in online chess. A lot of people play this, and Nakamura has been playing this a lot. And well, it is a flexible move. It is a flexible move. The most critical is to play e5, but there are many ways and many transpositions, and white can sort of, get a decent position, especially in a blitz game. But let's see what happened in this rapid game. d5 now by David Anton, bishop e2. And bishop f5 now, very sensible. Some people have tried out bishop g4 here, and the idea is simply to make it more difficult for white to develop, because now the e-pawn is pinned, you can't go e3, which is a very common move, and if you play knight f3, you have to accept double pawns. That's a different game, bishop f5. And this is very sensible because black simply wants to play a London system with colors reversed. Many people know the London system with white. You place the bishop here, pawn here, and you bring your knight out. Usually the pawn goes here, knight here, bishop out, and you castle. Very solid position. So that knowledge of the London with white, you can actually apply it in some cases with black, especially against wing systems like 1b3. But d3 now by Nepomniachtchi. So he's playing an inventive way here with white. Not really putting anything in the center yet, so he's not really playing some classical chess here. But now he plays d3. And, well, you can do a lot of things here. One thing white can do is play the so-called Hippo system, or the hippopotamus. And it's called that because white will usually place the pawns like this. And the pawns are kind of, beneath the surface and are ready to come up and maybe attack, like the hippo. But David, he played a5 here. He did not want to allow Nepo with white here to kind of set up what he wanted. So he plays kind of aggressively here with a5. And he wants to play a4, so therefore white plays a3, intending to meet the intended a4 with b4. So this is what happens. And now c5. So he's immediately attacking white's pawn chain here on the queen side, trying to dismantle it. But white tries to hold on with c3. So the plus is that white has kept the pawns here intact. The downside is that the bishop is kind of buried now behind its own pawns. For the time being, white can still get a very solid position. There are many lines where he can just play e4 and then try to get castled. But looks like Nepo was in an inventive mood here, and after castles, it did indeed play e4 here, bishop g6, and one would have thought he would have gone for something sensible like queen e2 and castles, but maybe there's some way to disrupt the pawn chain, maybe some c4 tactic. I don't know if he was worried about something, or if he just wanted to play in a different way, because knight h3 now looks very inventive, to say the least. I mean, it does have an idea. Okay, you keep control of e4, and you want to play this knight into f4. You want to play here, and I guess simply get the bishop here. David Anton took on e4 and played b5. Again, very aggressive. He wants to, while keeping in mind to perhaps completely close down the queen side. which could be bad news for this bishop. So b5 is a very aggressive move. Note that e5 is not really playable because knight e5. So knight f4 was played. So again, if you play this, then there is indeed an attack here and an attack here, but the knight comes here. And now you opened up for this bishop, so black is quite happy. So Nepo tried knight f4 here. And last piece out here by David Anton, knight to c6. So black's development and his position is quite nice. Very solid, but white hasn't gotten castled yet. So it looks like things have gone a bit wrong for white. He now plays h4. It's a nice idea. He wants to trap the bishop. h5, you have no squares. But very energetic response by David Anton, which shows that the whole concept by white has gone wrong. Knight e5, hitting the d3 square. He wants to jump with the knight there, and if he gets there, it's going to be check and hitting the bishop. And once you take the bishop, you can simply come back to this square very safely and protect it if you need to. So white needs to take care of this threat, and he does so with queen e2. He could have played h5 with the idea not to take after knight takes h5, to take with a knight, because then we can play knight d3 and take, and then simply come back. But to take with the rook. This is still better for black, but at least it's a fighting chance. Black gets a very strong initiative, and he's doing fine on material as well. Threatening to take and check, so white probably has to castle, but then black can take, give the check, and pick up a pawn, or open up the king. So bad position, it seems. So queen e2 was the chosen move here by Nepo, trying to cover the square and get ready to castle. But now a strong move by David Anton, knight h5. Simply wants to undermine this knight so he can give this big fat check here on d3. And black is definitely better here, especially if we have to play a move like bishop f1 with white here to try to shore up the d3 square. What does black do? c4, trying to cement the d3 square, and looks like black is winning this battle. Queen e3. David Anton now took on g4, f4, and played knight g4. Okay, the queen has to move, and now knight back to f6. Rerouting this knight, who now has control of this, attacks this. And black is very solid. If he can get a little bit more active, white is toast, because we're having some problems with the king, and this bishop, well, it has seen better days. Bishop to g2, protecting e4. Queen c7, preparing to bring a rook to the d file, simply connecting the rooks. Finally e5 now, but instead of knight d5, there's now knight h5, hitting the queen and also targeting this pawn here. Next move probably rook a to d8, but first, after queen g4, David Anton actually played f5. Now he played rook a d8, excuse me. After castles he played f5. So first you get the rook out the way, and now f5. And now black is simply becoming too active. I mean, you could take the pawn, but oh, you can't really do that. I thought maybe you had to take with a piece, but you can take with a rook, you protect the pawn, and now everything is hitting f4. We're going to take with a knight. We've even opened up for the bishop. It's just going to be lights out really soon for white here. So I probably can't take, and didn't take. I played queen f3, but I think that doesn't really matter at this point. The white position is completely busted. Rook d3 hitting the queen, getting a tempo to double here. Nepo tried to trade off the queens, which black simply accepted here and played bishop e8, offering the trade, covering the pawn. And white can't really trade now because his pieces are so bad. If you trade, notice that all the pawns here are on light squares, and this means that the white pawns are black squares. They're all targets for the nice bishop. We can win this one immediately. This one is a big target, and black will have the d file. Completely overwhelming position. Bishop b7 instead, but black is still much better. Well, he's just completely winning. Knight takes f4, picks up a pawn. Bishop h5, hitting the rook. And, well, Nepo didn't see any way out here. He tried to give up the exchange, but simply rook b8, covering the pawn. And, yeah, the end is near here. Knight f3, rook b6, hitting the bishop. And a bad square chosen here by Nepo. Well, he didn't really have good choices, and final blunder, he simply leaves the knight unprotected here. And the game's over. He resigned after rook takes f3. So a big win for David Anton, who, well, 2.5 out of 3, which gives him a big chance to fight for the top 8, something that I don't think many people would have predicted before the tournament. But yeah, somebody to look out for in the rest of the tournament. So this was round 3, and I hope to give you some games from round 4 and 5 from day 1. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. No. Wait. We're not done here. Caps. Jan Nepomniachtchi. He had a much better game against Magnus, where he scored over 98%. In this one, 90.9. Nothing special. At least over 90, but at this level you should be a bit higher. And we see David Anton with 97.7, which is closer to what you'd expect from players at this level. A very solid game by David Anton. You can see that white, sort of had a little bit of something, not much in the opening. Very quickly equal, even slightly better for black, and then slowly but surely David Anton took over and won deservedly. So very well done indeed by David Anton. So that's it for round 3. See you guys later. Bye bye.